Is it wrong to want daily sex 1 year or more into a relationship? Shouldn't the honeymoon be over for both parties by then? What if it is for you, but not for them? This guy, he wrote to the Sunday Express's S magazine begging for help because he suspects his girlfriend's a sex addict. How awful is that?
Terrible.
Terrible. Why does he think this? Because 1 year into their relationship, she still wants it every night, and he doesn't. Other men might think I'm lucky, but I'm not a robot, and I'm not always in the mood, he moaned. I'm starting to feel used, as if she has no ill interest in my feelings. Now, studies suggest the average woman is genetically programmed to have a high sex drive, but only in the first 18 months of a relationship. That's before she starts to have a headache. Why is it like this? Why is it like this? It's so that she develops a strong bond with her mate, while a fella's appetite for hiding the old sausage also decreases over the time, but not usually as quickly as hers. So this couple is unusual. How do other couples resolve a problem as fundamental as this, especially when he loses interest before her? Does she need to cool her ardour, reduce her demands and take the occasional cold shower, or does he need to stiffen his resolve, swallow a Viagra, get down and dirty? Is this woman a sex addict? Is she being unreasonable? What happens when the honeymoon is over, Amanda?
Poor bloke. You know what he should do?
Poor bloke.
He should get her pregnant, because then once the baby comes along, she's not going to have the energy to roll over in bed, let alone anything else.
Drastic solution.
No, I mean, in all seriousness, he needs to look out for the signs when the legs stop getting shaved every day and the underwear is no longer matching.
I think he's lucky at the moment. I can understand that it can be, you know, wearing, but...
Yeah. I mean, all joking aside, I think sex drive compatibility is probably one of the... I was about to say ball breaker, but deal breaker. Because it is, isn't it? I mean, if you do... It's all well and good having the same political stance and the same interests in whatever, art and literature, but if one of you's really up for it every night and the other one once a month, thanks very much, not a marriage made in heaven, is it? I think that's probably one of the
What do you say, though? What do you actually say in that situation? How would you feel as a woman if he says, I don't want to do it tonight? I don't want to do it tomorrow night?
I would, yeah, if he said that, hell would have to freeze over first,
yeah,
I think.
okay.
But if he did, I'd feel really hurt, actually.
Right, OK, so
then I'd pull out all the stops the next night. It's a good job he's away and he's not watching.
So if he says, I don't want it tonight, it could actually get worse.
Yeah, and it would. And then what happens, if he did say that, then you would start thinking, oh, maybe it's me, maybe he doesn't find me attractive anymore, maybe there's something wrong with me, and it would perpetuate, it would get worse and worse.
Probably shattered.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, the issue, Kate, is it's every night, which, you know, the British average, as we all know, is, I think, 2 and a bit times a week. So he's, you know, 300% more demands on him. Any sympathy for him?
I mean, they must have other interests, you know, they must want to go out and see friends or hobbies.
I don't know how long it takes when you do it, but I still manage to squeeze in time to go out, occasionally, anyway. Grab a cup of milk, get another tube of Viagra cream.
On your
We really must find out where you're supposed to rub it.
I'd like to know that, I really would like to know that. But I think in any relationship there's got to be a level of compromise. And, you know, sometimes you've had a hard day at work. I think she's just putting too much pressure on the poor bloke.
But also there are, without meaning to get too graphic, because it is early morning, there are other ways of relieving sexual tension without...
It's getting a bit graphic, this show. I'm starting to worry.
I think, you know, just being serious for a moment, that I know, which is that this might belie something much more important, which is I do think that you do need to then have a conversation about it, you know, and you know, the whole sexual act thing is, there are huge psychological factors at play the whole time as well, and I think it is worth talking about, you know, what's going on in their relationship, do they still like each other, do they fancy each other, all those sort of things.
Do you think it's unreasonable? A year in? I mean, it's...
There's something wrong, and they need help, but I'm not sure writing to a national newspaper is probably the way that I'd deal with the problem. But certainly go and seek some sort of counselling together, go and talk to your doctor on your own.
What would you say if you were their doctor?
I would take it very seriously, actually. But I think the difficulty is who goes and how...
It's such a hard subject to broach, isn't it? You know, if you were the one that wanted it all the time and the one that was rejected, you are feeling rejected, aren't you? If someone's trying...
I know when we've talked about sexual compatibility before, as far as sex drive goes, you know, you get some... You know, there are lots of people out there in this position, and in the more extreme cases, I think it is...
But, you know, is there an underlying physical reason as well? Is there a disease?
Well,
is there something like...
You know, I mean, speaking as a, you know, a youthful 28-year-old male...
Youthful.
I mean...
Yeah, me too.
You know, once a day after a year, you know, it's kind of... It's,
But you have that initial rush, don't you, when you first meet someone, when you very rarely get out of the bedroom. And then, you know, life does sort of settle down and you do stop shaving your legs every day and wearing matching underwear. But I think that...
I'll tell you I don't.
Do you?
I'm as good as gold in that department. Let's throw it over to you. I think David's right. At the heart of this, actually, laughter aside, there is a really, really serious issue. Let's see what you make of it. Kirsty.
We have Peter on line 1.
Morning, Peter.
Good morning.
Now, I'm told you're one of our older viewers.
Well, yes, I haven't reached 80 yet. I'm, say, over 75.
OK, so...
I was in the Lake District with my younger partner, 15 years younger, and every night she got rather amorous.
Right.
And I had to take up a really steep mountain where I had to climb on all fours, and we got really tired, and that solved the problem.
Mountain walks cure the problem.
I thought there was some euphemism.
Get on all... Was it the get on all fours bit?
Yes.
I think you mean just a steep incline, yes.
Right, sorry, Peter.
And that sorted the problem out, Peter?
Well, we went up Cat Bells, and you can't get up that just walking.
No, I've been up the old man, but I managed to get up that on less than all fours, I have to say.
But there is a really important point here, which is that often people think that if you're older, then you don't have sex anymore. But it's as important in the relationship as it is for younger people. And often, older people do feel that there is this sort of separation between them when you know, there are different sexual needs. And it's a really important part of the relationship.
Would you say it's a good idea to wear the old dear out, though, if she wants more than you?
Just be careful she doesn't get angina or anything on the way up the hill. But...
There's another bowler, there's another top of ironing to get through first, darling. It's the thought. What about our audience? Now, Eric has been substituted by a Mexican called Pablo today. We're looking for sponsorship from Bic, Gillette, Wilkinson Sword, any of the others.
I'm just a little bit concerned about what David said, because he said I looked more gay.
OK, no,
So I don't think so. Anyway, the audience love it, and I'll just think you're jealous.
OK.
You describe it.
Olé!
And if you at home want me to shave it off, please email the show. But next to me is Andy. So, daily sex. Is it so bad?
I don't think it's wrong, but I think it might be slightly unrealistic. I think...
The girls' expectations?
Maybe a little bit, but I think in a relationship, especially when you live together, passions develop in other areas. You have to live with someone, you have to look after them when they're ill. And I think it transfers from the initial kind of burst of...
So,
you know,
if you were in his position, what would you say? You would have a discussion?
I would have a discussion, because if she's placing that much emphasis, the importance on sex in their relationship, maybe their relationship isn't developing in other areas.
Good point.
OK, OK. Let's take another call, please.
We have Mary on line 2.
Mary, good morning.
Good morning, hi.
The women with high sex drives seem to be getting a rough ride here, if you'll excuse the turn of phrase. What do you think?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, to be honest.
What, in terms of wanting sex every day?
There's nothing wrong with it. I've been with my partner 7 years and we have sex every day.
OK.
Every day?
Basically, if you don't, you know, show them that you care and you find them attractive and you still, you know, fancy each other.
But if he...
After a year, there must be a problem. If this guy's moaning after a year, it's not going to be much of a long relationship, is it?
Well, yeah, I'm just wondering, I mean, does your other half ever turn around and say, Mary, not tonight, I'm tired, and...
I wish. I'm joking.
Mary, bless you, thank you. Let's have one more.
We have Sarah on line 3.
Sarah, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Who's right or who's wrong, and what would you do if you were in this situation, Sarah?
Well, I'm in a situation at the moment where I've been with my husband 8 years, and after 8 years, you've got to have the conversation, you know, why you don't want to have sex every night. And if you can have that conversation quite, as adults, I think you can make a really good relationship out of it.
I think you're right, but I think, as Amanda explained herself, it's not necessarily that easy. Feelings can be hurt, rejection can be felt.
You've got to get over that. I think we did it quite early on. We had this conversation 2 years into the relationship, and at first he didn't quite hear what I was saying, so I took him to a relationships expert.
Yeah.
And after that, they made him understand that me not wanting it every night doesn't mean I want him to not just be there every night. So
Sarah, just to wrap up very quickly on this, so I'm fascinated. The relationship expert, the visit there, do you think that really helped your romance?
really helped, really helped.
I sort of, it goes back to what David said right at the beginning. It's something that to take seriously, have a discussion about. It's not the end of the world, no matter. I mean, it's quite clear in this case, perhaps like your husband, that feelings are being hurt and need to be taken into account. That makes me sound almost like a reasonable human being there, doesn't it?
Steady on there, Matthew.
Have to work harder next day. OK, thank you for the call, Sarah. And that is the panel done for the day. Property guru Luke Doonan still to come. First, though, it's goodbye to you, Kate. Lovely to see you.
Thank you for
it really
having me.
is.
It's
And,
been great fun.
give our love to Ian and Melinda
I
as
will
well.
do, yeah.
And don't forget to catch her live from Studio 5, 6:30 p.m. every night here on this Channel 5.